Hi everybody, it's Tatiana and I'm coming today to share with you the books that I read in August and September outside of Space Opera September, and my TBR for the month of October, which is small. So, I need my planner. In August, I had hoped to do my own version of ARC August, where I read the finished copies of books that I had been approved for e-ARCs for, and I had done the reviews of the e-ARCs. And I wanted to get to a couple of other stories that I had just gotten approved for, and then one was a sequel, but it was an e-ARC that was a sequel of a book I already owned. Didn't go as well as I hoped it would go. I only read 2 books in the month of August, and I started a third, and I made a mistake by starting the third book that I read. If I had not picked that book up, I'm sure would have read at least the e-ARC that I wanted to read in August, which was The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I did not get to that, unfortunately, but I did read An Unconditional Freedom by Alyssa Cole, which is in my room, and I'm not going down there to get it. I read that as an e-ARC, and also on my list was Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole, which An Unconditional Freedom loud truck. An Unconditional Freedom is book 3 in her Loyal League series, and A Prince on Paper is book 4 in her Reluctant Royals series. I did not read A Prince on Paper because after reading An Unconditional Freedom, I realized that there were no changes between the e-ARC and the finished copy, which is sometimes a thing. There were some things that happened between the 2 main characters in that story that I hoped was going to get cleaned up a little bit, but they weren't changed. And so in seeing that those things were not changed, I realized I didn't need to get to A Prince on Paper. I could save that as a reread for like comfort reading in the future. I also read the finished product of Children of Blood and Bone with the expectation that when I reread it, because there were so many people who had read it after I read my e-ARC last year, who had some issues with it that I didn't have. So I wanted to read the finished copy and number one, see if some things had changed between the e-ARC and the release of the finished copy. It had not. And then also to see if my reception of the story would change after having listened to some of the feedback and critiques that other people had. It did not. I still love it. I understand where those critiques are coming from, not to discount what anyone has said as far as critiques or how they feel the novel could have been better. I still fucking loved it. So I'm happy about that. That for me, it's still a good book. And so I'm even more now excited. Like the excitement had died down a little bit for book 2. I'm excited again for book 2. The third book that I picked up that I should not have picked up was Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. That book is a slog. I have not finished it. I was not going to pick it up during Space Opera September because I did not want anything to slow my reading down for Space Opera September. I really expected to enjoy that book more than I did, and the main issue that I am having at this point, and I'm going to finish it, but the main issue that I am having at this point is the way that it focuses on how evil people think the black person is because he's black. Like there's a huge like if they're talking about the main character who is black, it is evident every term that they use for this character is another word that they are saying, sometimes in a nice way, sometimes in a derogatory way, of saying that black man. Versus when they're talking about the white characters in the book, it's the true Englishman, or a real Englishman, or an actual Englishman. That bugged the shit out of me, to the point where I am not able to really take in what the story is, or the story, or with that being coupled with the story being a slow story. It's not a fast moving novel. It's not an action packed novel. This is a lot of prim, proper politicking in magical society that's going on, and that can be very boring. But add to that irritation and frustration with how the main character is being talked about, perceived, discussed in the side conversations in the book that you are privy to, because they've been written into the story. I'm not really enjoying it. I am going to finish it because I'm really hoping that the book that's a companion, and I could have not read the book and still read The True Queen, because The True Queen is a companion novel. It's not a direct sequel. But because I owned a Sorcerer to the Crown, I wanted to read that first. Like, since I have it, I can get the whole world, like the world building that takes place in that. I can get that before going into The True Queen. And making that decision to read Sorcerer to the Crown stalled my reading for the rest of the month of August. I did not want to read, and I didn't want to read that, but watching television totally eclipsed my desire to finish that book, so that I could feel like I could move on to something else, because I really don't read multiple books at one time. So yeah, that was the end of August. Then for the month of September, I read 2 books outside of what I read for Space Opera September. They were both graphic novels, and they were sequels. So I read Department H Volumes 1 and 2, and I read those because of Michael at Michael Reads talking about them on one of his readathon vlogs that he did. I can't even remember which vlog it was. I will try and find out and put it in the description box below if you're not familiar with his channel. But he enjoyed it so much, so I was like, I'm gonna pick this up. And then I saw it was a freaking mystery, and I am not a fan of mysteries, so I didn't think I was gonna like it. I was wrong. I am going to have to stop saying I don't like mysteries, because apparently the right kinds of mysteries are good for me. And I really enjoyed it. I borrowed it from the library, and currently book 3 at the library has been, like, we've been waiting, or they've been waiting for it to be returned since June. I'm actually going to ask them how long it's going to take for them to declare that book lost and just order another one, because I thought that would be something that they kept track of, because I know when I have a book that's super duper late, I get a call, but apparently they don't keep track of it. So yeah, I am going to mention that to them, that this book has been gone for some months and I'm waiting on it. So can we order another one? On to my October TBR. There are only 2 books that I have on my October TBR. The first is a readathon, read-along, that I am doing with Brown Girl Reading and a group of other people. There's a Goodreads group for it, and it is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. I am reading this as an audiobook because the first maybe 2/3 of this I've already read. I didn't finish it, so I'm rereading the part that I already read as an audiobook, and then I will pick the print copy up to finish it, and I will probably go through the print copy as I'm reading it via audiobook to tab some places, because there are a lot of things that I wanted to make note of the first time that I read it, and I didn't because I didn't have my own copy, and now I have my own copy. This is 1,243 pages. This will probably be the biggest book that I read in 2019, but this book was one of my goals that I wanted to read before the end of the year, and I didn't go about reading it like I wanted to. So I'm so happy and grateful that Dee Dee decided that it was a good idea to do a read-along, because she wanted to read it as well. So that helps me accomplish this goal for 2019. And then I am also, don't fall, reading The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I did not think this was going to come in through my library system, through the hold that I placed, in time for like 2019 period. And some people must have canceled their holds, because I picked it up I got a call that it was available, so I went and got it. So yeah, I have already started this as well, and I am on page 115 so far, and that is all that I have on tap to read for the month of October. If I read more, I will share that when I do a wrap up, whenever the heck that happens. Thank you all for watching. I've been talking for a while. Buffy is out here in the hall like, are you finished yet? Yes. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good weekend whenever you see this video. Peace out.